Mother. Not a bad list of achievements for a 27-year-old from Limerick. She's listed as the 5th richest woman in these islands. Her albums sell in the millions, but I don't think it's been all easy street for our first guest, who found herself on a rock and roll roller coaster that took a pretty heavy toll. But she's back. She's stronger than ever. She's interrupted her European tour to fly from Munich to be with us tonight, and tomorrow she's back in Germany. She's performing in Berlin, but we're delighted to have her with us tonight. Will you give your warmest welcome, please, to the lead singer with the Cranberries, Dolores O'Riordan. Dolores, you're very welcome. Now, make yourself comfortable there. You're a busy woman. Germany, and back to Germany tomorrow.
That's right, yeah, back out to Berlin tomorrow.
Yeah, how are the shows going?
They're going great, yeah, really great. It's really surprising, actually. We did a show the other night in Milan, and the audience were like really loud with the lyrics from the new album. So loud that like I kept turning on my in-ear monitor, and I had a sore ear like for about 2 days. It's brilliant, though. It's really nice because, you know, we took a big break, so it's nice that the fans are still there and stuff.
Yeah. We'll talk to you about that big break you took and why you took it in a few minutes, but just going back to your childhood, because I'm wondering what formed Dolores O'Riordan. What kind of a childhood did you have? Were you happy?
Oh yeah, very, yeah, a lot of happiness. Very, I guess very spiritually strong, you know. There was a lot of kids, like I had 5 brothers. I still have 5 brothers and 1 sister, and very protective brothers, you know, like bikers, like hurlers, like the whole lot, you know. And my sister, she got married quite young and had kids. They all live at home. They all live down in Limerick, so it's quite nice to be with them now because, you know, we always kind of, we have our nostalgic trips and talk about childhood.
What kind of a teenager were you? I mean, your role model, one of them was John Lennon, who was a bit of a rebel. Were you a bit of a rebel?
Yeah, I suppose I was, because I was the youngest, you know, and I had 5 brothers, so I kind of always fantasized about being one of the guys, you know. I had that thing, you know, it was like when you have 5 brothers and you're always with them, it's like it seems so cool to be a boy, you know, when you're with all the lads, because they can just pee anywhere, and it seems so cool, they could just pee, and we had to kind of do the bending down in the hedge type thing, you know. So they were really cool, and they got away with murder, of course. Boys were allowed to come home late, and, you know, girls weren't, so I always kind of wanted to be a boy, so I guess I was a bit of a tomboy, a little bit of a rebel then, I guess, because of the whole not wanting to be a girl type thing, you know.
Yeah. What kind of kid were you in school? Were you the leader of the pack, or were you an outsider, or were you put upon?
I was kind of I was a ringleader of a little group, but I must say I was a bit of a class clown. I loved to joke and stuff in school, you know, and like.
When the teacher saw you, would they say, "Here's trouble"?
I guess, like, I mean, there was one teacher in particular, she used to walk into class, and you know how you have, like, so many different periods in a day, you have 6 or 7 classes or periods in a day, and they're 40 minutes long. But there was one teacher, and she had a soft spot for my voice, so she'd come in, and I'd be there, Miss, come here, I wrote this song, check it out. And she'd be there, oh, really? And she'd sit down, and she'd be there, what is it? And I'd be telling her, well, I wrote it last night, and all the girls would be egging me on, you know, distract her for 10 minutes, you know, so she'd forget to do this, that, and the other, you know. So
can you remember any of those early songs? I mean, were they any good, or looking back on them, were they kind of...
They were kind of like really poppy type, you know, because I was about 12 or 13, you know, when I started writing.
But obviously there was a musical talent in the family. You picked it up somewhere.
Yeah, when my dad used to play the accordion, like, and he still does, and my mum always sang, you know. And when I was really little, I started going, like, I was playing the church organ when I was about 12, like, and the choir were all well over 40. And I was there like 12 years old, you know, and it was like 4 nights a week playing the church organ up in the local church.
There was some story, though, that your mother thought you'd joined the convent. Now,
I guess she hoped. I think most Irish Catholic mothers hope one of their daughters will turn out to be a nun, you know. But no, I mean, she always encouraged me and stuff towards the kind of religious thing, and she was really quite religious when I grew up, and she, you know, we had a lot of nice friends.
It must have been her biggest nightmare when you joined a rock band.
Well, I guess she was scared and stuff in case I'd do something really wrong, you know. But I think after about a year, she kind of learned to trust me and stuff, and we became really close to each other.
I mean, you were on the road, you're in the back of a van with the lads travelling.
With the lads, like, yeah. And pretty much like when we started, I guess in about the end of 89, 1990, it's 10 years ago now we started, and I was still in 6th year, you know. And we used to go touring around Ireland in little bread vans, you know. The bass player, you know, he used to work in a bread factory.
And you were in 6th year, and your mammy's allowing you to travel around Ireland in the back of a van.
Well, it was like, you know, we'd have a few odd gigs, like not a lot, but it was the summer I joined the Cranberries. It was the summer I was doing my leaving, you know. And no, she trusted me. She knew I was, you know, I wasn't totally crazy.
Good girl.
Yeah, she knew I was a bit mad in certain ways, but she knew I had my head well screwed on when it came to the guy thing.
There is the impression that it was kind of overnight success for you guys.
Yeah.
Now, that's to forget a couple of years of really dragging yourselves around, getting no recognition, no gigs in Dublin, for instance, because you were from Limerick.
Yeah, I remember coming up to Dublin, doing our first gig, and like 4 people turned up, and I was so depressed. I was there, do you have to let it linger, singing away, and it was like 4 people, and they were more interested in their pints than me, and I was like, God, I'm so depressed, you know. And I never.
And a couple of years on, they're all singing that song, aren't they?
Song, you know, it's mad.
Yeah.
Life is just so unpredictable.
How did it happen that you broke America before you broke this side of the world?
Well, it's kind of like, it's a really long story, but we got signed to the American label and stuff, and when we brought the album out here, it already was released to media about a year before it actually came out. So they had all heard it, all the journalists and stuff, about a year before it actually came out.
Yeah.
You know, so they
and Linger, of course, was so singable.
Linger and Dreams and stuff, yeah. And they kind of gave it a hard time. The English press really slated it, and it was really quite a nice thing when we went to America, and it was so big there, and then it ended up selling 6 or 7 million copies, our first album. So, you know, it was nice, like, you know.
It was terrific. I mean, you were made up, and clearly you saved some of your money, and even that first album would have looked after you for quite a long time.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, like, I guess a lot of people thought our success was very quick, but in reality it wasn't. I mean, I was doing 2 gigs a night. I remember going on stage singing from 7 to 9, and then coming off stage for half an hour, and, you know, having a quick shower, putting on more makeup, and then going on stage again for 2 more hours. And this is in small, dingy clubs to 200 people in America, and I was doing this for months, like, and you just get burned out, you know.
Okay.
You just get
and that's what I was coming to now. When you actually went off the road, I mean, what went wrong for you personally?
At that point, I guess, like, that was kind of later on and stuff. I think we probably should have taken a career break after our second album.
Yeah, because you were touring the first album and then touring the second album, and it was gig after gig after gig.
We would go out and we'd tour for 2 years or something, or a year and a half, so you live on buses and you call home and, you know, you cry on the phone and say, I miss you and all that stuff, you know. But then you go back to work or whatever. But you lose grips with the real world so much, and you're living in this kind of surreal world where there is no stability. You just get up and you're like, so where are we today? And it's like, well, we're in, you know, Sydney, Australia or whatever, and it's like, okay, so where are we playing tonight? How many people? Okay. And then, you know, you go to the venue and you're worried about, do I have interviews? It's like you're kind of caught up in your,
but
it's all work, you know.
Travel the world without seeing the world.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Hotel to limo to stage to limo to hotel.
Yeah, you look out the window and go, that's nice. And if you want to go out, it's like, you know, you usually like have to have security or whatever with you, you know. And stuff.
During that period, you were also very good copy. I mean, you'd give interviews and you'd make provocative statements about anything. I mean, it could be the IRA, it could be abortion, it could be capital punishment, it could be any of those things.
Yeah.
Now, looking back on those kind of statements that you made, I mean, were they true to you, or?
Yeah, they were definitely true to me. I mean, as I grew up, I had views, and I thought, why should I pretend to be different than what I really am? This is what I really think. So I would just say it naively, and it was like, oh my God, she's this, and it would be like, I just said what I thought, like, you know. And I was quite young when I said different things, and of course your opinions do change as you get older, but at the time I would never take back anything I have said, because I really felt passionate and strong about those things at the time.
At the time,
you know?
yeah, but you say that just because you get celebrity, you become a rock star, people expect you to be some sort of an expert and a politician and be able to talk on world peace.
Yeah.
Now some people do, Bono, every
well,
day.
Bono is quite exceptional.
He is quite exceptional.
Bono, so.
But they do expect these things of you, and it's a bit unfair. It's like asking a footballer who scores great goals to philosophize about the meaning of life.
Exactly, you know, because like I've kind of learned to kind of shy away from the political aspect of life, because I have no ambition to be a politician or anything like that. I really enjoy singing. I love being a singer. I enjoy being a mom. I enjoy what I'm doing, but I don't want to save the world, because I don't think I really can. I think the world will always have its problems. I just think it's in our own nature to destroy ourselves as the human race. You know, we're quite destructive.
Okay, but on
really.
A personal basis, you could have destroyed yourself. I mean, it got that bad, didn't
And I
it?
guess that's probably why I said, like, I better look after myself and stop worrying about everybody
How
else.
bad did you get? I mean, I know you were reported to be anorexic. Were you ever?
No, I was never actually anorexic or bulimic or anything weird like that. I was just really clinically depressed, you know. I was just like, having spent no time at home and having lived for so long in buses with men and this isolation in hotel rooms all the time and this like hectic schedule, it just did get to a point where it was like, I kind of wondered if anybody really cared about me as a person. And when I said, like, I'd like to take a break, it was like, oh no, you can't, because we had committed to this tour. It was like a $6 million tour or something, yeah. And you get to that point where, you know, you go into interviews or you meet people and they would be telling you things about yourself, and you'd be like, is that right? You know, you're so confused. Eventually, it was like, it was a bit
What
strange.
did you turn to? I've read that you actually turned to drink.
Yeah.
Is that was that the chemical of your choice to try and ease the pain?
Because it was safe enough, you know. I knew that I wouldn't be having any waffly kind of, you know, visionary extraordinaires or anything. You know, with alcohol, at least you just get blotto and fall asleep, you know. Yeah. You wake up with a bit of a head, like, but, you know, to me, I wasn't into kind of chemicals or the mushrooms or anything like that. I just thought they were all... I wasn't really into any of that. I was like, no, I'm not taking that, man.
Did you have to actually go through the whole medical thing and get antidepressant pills, or...?
Yeah, I went through the whole medical thing, and I went to, not a psychiatrist, but a psychologist, which is kind of different. And the psychologist I saw, he saw an awful lot of celebrities, and he was telling me about it, and he was telling me, this is quite normal. Usually after a certain amount of years of exposure, most celebrities get like this. And I was like, yes, so I'm normal. And he was like, yeah, you're normal. And I was like, yes, because I'm not actually mad. He was going, no, you're okay.
And you got straightened out?
Yeah, he just said, you know, you need to kind of take a break from the band, and you need to just go away and just find out what it's like to be an ordinary person, and just be an ordinary person for a while, just get away from it all.
Now, you got married very publicly in a most extraordinary dress and everything, and we all saw it on the front pages, and you married someone from the music business, Don, which is probably great, because at least you get someone who understands what you're all about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he must be very worried looking at what was happening to you.
Well, no, he's not Catholic or anything, he's Canadian, so he couldn't make out the big schmuckins about my dress. It was like you'd say something...
Oh, no, I was talking about just afterwards when you were suffering.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, I'm sure he was worried about it, but he probably knew I would pull out of it. But actually, when we did get married, like, all the media turned up. I was shocked. I didn't know they would. I was out of the country for years. And I came back thinking, I'm going to get married now in Ireland in a small little church. Well, actually, it was a nice big Holy Cross Abbey. Yeah. And I've always loved that church. I used to go there as a teenager, and as a child, I used to go there to the novenas and stuff, you know, with my mom. And I loved it, so I thought I'd get married there. Well, I couldn't believe how much media turned up at my wedding. I was like, oh my God, and they were everywhere all over the street. And I was like, oh God, are they here for my wedding? Is there something going on here today? And it was like, yeah, your wedding. And I was like, you know, I just didn't expect that, you know. So I think, like, it was always different coming back to Ireland. Things were always kind of more serious, like there was more media and stuff here, whereas in big cities, you don't get that, you know.
The birth of your baby, how did that change Dolores?
I guess, like, it made me kind of more grounded and more stable and a lot more happy. I mean, I think what I really felt like I really needed was, I felt like I have all these things and everybody thinks I'm so, like, she has this, she has that, but I'm so lonely. I was so lonely inside. I was so sad and stuff. I really wanted to experience some really strong love. So I think when I had him, it was like I never experienced such strong love for so long. It just was mind-blowing. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And it just kind of grounded me. And through his eyes, I started to see simple things again, like, you know, nature, and like, I opened up to love. Like, my eyes were shut for a long time. I didn't really think that people liked me and stuff for a long time. You know, when you get famous, it is pretty weird. There's so many people around you consuming you, and you don't know any of them. So you think, oh, they don't like me. So then when I had the baby, I think I just started to see people with more of a loving nature, and I started to see more love in people's faces. How
do you manage on tour without him? Or do you take him along?
I take him along, but the European leg is great, actually, because I fly home every night. Like, we have a private jet, so it's great. We've gotten to that lovely status in life, you know.
That's pretty good.
10 years of hard slogging and, you know, a lot of ups and downs, but it's nice, you know, you have the jet.
We've all seen the house that you're selling. Why are you selling it? I passed it on the road in County Kerry, and it's in a beautiful spot.
Oh, it's lovely.
I think it's a stunning house.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, all right. It's just really because it's kind of like very far away from my family. And with the little guy now, there's only one person that he stays with, and that's my mom. You know, it's like himself and mom are like this, you know. They're really close. So he's with her all the time, and she kind of pretty much lives in our house with us now, kind of thing. So it works out great, and he's got all his little cousins and his little siblings. And I gave him a puppy last week, you know, because he's going to be 2 soon, and he got a little puppy for his birthday. So he's a happy camper.
We're going to see you perform in Mill Street. Now, you can't do the Point because there's no window in the Point's schedule that ties in with the window in your schedule.
Yeah, unfortunately, because, you know, like Noel, his wife, the guitarist's wife, is having a baby, and Fergus, they're both due after Christmas. So, like, we can't really tour for that little time there, you know, because, you know, when you're becoming a daddy, you need to be around, like. So, you know, we wanted to kind of get a slot there before Christmas, but it was really busy in the Point. So we're doing Mill Street in County Cork, which is a really
December
cool place.
the 11th, is it?
Yeah. It's really nice now. It's a good laugh. Like, it's kind of down there in the middle of the green fields, but it's pretty, you know, it's pretty cool. It's nice, you know. I think people would enjoy it, you know. It's a great place, like.
And the new album's doing very well.
Yeah, it's doing great. It's really kicking in now, big time, you know, and we're enjoying touring it.
I mean, some great songs on it, instantly appealing. And, I mean, the critics sometimes have a go at you. Do you understand why?
Success. I think
Simple
when
as
you
that.
become successful, they have a go at you. It's like, hey, they did it, let's kill them, you know, kind of thing. It's typical. I think anybody who has a bit of success, you're going to get your ass kicked a bit.
That's
you
all
know,
right.
they're going to kind of, you know, give you a hard time. I mean, they love you when you're at the bottom, but then when you get successful, they hate you. And then when you go down to the bottom, they're nice again. And then when you start coming up, they start killing you again. It's just like a game or something, you know.
Yeah.
So
But you're mature enough to see it for what it is now.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
Doesn't
take
hurt
it
you
as
anymore.
seriously as I used to. No, I've learned, yeah.
Dolores, it's lovely to have you on the show. Thank you very much for flying in to be with us. Dolores O'Riordan. Okay, that's the end of part one. See you in a couple of minutes.